Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Today is yet another day where prices are surging, people are feeling more and more squeezed, and Donald Trump's polling is in the toilet. He's even managed to hit a new low in the Fox News approval poll, with nearly 60% disapproving the job he's doing overall. And it only gets bleaker as the polls dig into his approval on, say, foreign policy, the war of choice with Iran specifically. But there he was today in a very long cabinet meeting, droning on and on and on for nearly 2 hours without a care in the world.
They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Just remember this in a number of months from now. Remember my statements. I have an expression, a great expression, never forget. Can never forget. Before this started, the Dow hit 50,000. The S&P hit 7,000. Both of those achievements were not achievable. This ballroom is going to be something that's so beautiful for the city, so desperately needed by presidents. I mean, now it's no secret the military wanted it more than anybody. See this pen right here? This pen is an interesting example. It's the same thing. So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well. I like it. I'm the only president that ever took a cognitive test. I took it 3 times. It's actually a very hard test for a lot of people. It wasn't hard for me, but it's a cognitive test. It starts off with an easy question, and by the time you get to the middle, it gets tougher. By the time you get to the end, very few people can answer those questions. They get very tough mathematical equations and things.
For the record, my understanding is the mathematical equations are count backwards from 100 by 7. He doesn't seem to grasp that most people don't need to take cognitive tests over and over, that maybe there's something a little strange about your doctors constantly wanting to give you a cognitive test over and over. But here's the thing. If you know anything about why that man is sitting in that office today, because he won the 2024 campaign, it's that the reason that he won that campaign, the core message, the main reason Donald Trump won was affordability. And that is borne out in just about every bit of data we have. The key issues swing voters cared about. People particularly that had voted for Joe Biden in 2020, voted for Donald Trump in 2024, voters who hadn't voted in 2024 because they were fed up. The thing they cared about was that things were just too expensive. And Trump latched onto that message, and he hammered it home in simple terms at nearly every campaign appearance.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will stop the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. Under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. My plan will cut energy prices in half or more than that within 12 months of taking office. That means we're going down and getting gasoline below $2 a gallon, bring down the price of everything from electricity rates to groceries, airfares, and housing costs.
Oh, really? Cut it by half in 12 months, 18 months, the longest? Now, here's the thing. A lot of the inflation issues really didn't have anything to do with things that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris did. They were a byproduct of 2 major things: the pandemic and then the end of the pandemic and all that supply chain madness, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, right? And the other thing is things were headed in a much better direction on inflation and affordability by Election Day. The slope was going down, but it didn't matter. Trump hammered away at that message, and after he won, all he had to do, at least on that stuff, was just kind of leave things alone. Did he leave things alone? No, of course he did not. In fact, since day one, the Trump administration has acted as if they had hired some crack team of consultants to bring in to study the problem and find all the ways that the president of the United States could personally jack up prices for people. Like, what's in the toolkit? Systematically doing just about everything you could do as president to personally make things more expensive. Number one, unilaterally, by fiat, attempting to impose hundreds of billions of dollars in arbitrary tariffs on thousands of imported goods from dozens and dozens of countries. Number two, unilaterally, out of nowhere, starting a war of choice with Iran that has caused what could prove to be the worst oil shock in history. Number three, to cap it all off, bullying the Federal Reserve, the folks who are in charge of trying to keep a hand on inflation, bullying them so severely you even threaten prosecution through the Justice Department, all to try to get them to lower rates prematurely, which, if successful, would likely uncork more inflation. So here we are. Did that promise ring true? The price of food is up nearly 20%. Gas is almost $4 a gallon. Higher in some states. It's $5 and $6 out west. $7 diesel. All because the war the president has started has led Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz and 20% of global oil supply. The cost of fertilizer is also up because of the war hitting farmers who are already dealing with the loss of major markets thanks to Trump's insane tariff policy. Petrochemicals, things you haven't even heard of, packing, plastic bags, all going up. Mortgage rates just jumped again. The average rate on a 30-year mortgage is just over 6%. That is the fourth increase just since the war began. Car payments are up, making it harder for people to buy or keep cars. While all this happens, Trump's Treasury Secretary is out today claiming, quote, under President Trump's leadership, we're on a path towards unprecedented economic growth and lasting dollar dominance. And Trump is now signing $100 bills to prove it, literally putting his name on money. That's what we learned today. He's going to put his signature on money. But again, he can do 2-hour cabinet meetings. Scott Bessent can say whatever he wants. People are not buying it. It's like the one lie he can't get away with. Go figure. A recent Reuters poll found that over 60% of Americans disapprove of how Trump is handling the... Look at that. Look at that number. 62 disapprove, 29 approve. That number you see right there, that is worse than even Joe Biden's lowest mark in that poll. And keep in mind, inflation was like 9% under Joe Biden. That number you see there, Donald Trump riffing about the ballroom and the pens and going to Graceland, could I take Elvis in a fight? That is a large part of why Republicans are losing special election after special election. As we brought you the news on Tuesday, a Democrat, a first-time candidate, won a special election, flipping Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago State House District blue, literally happening in his backyard. You can imagine what is bubbling up across the country. It's not just like the poll numbers as this abstraction. Real people are tired of seeing their neighbors scooped up by ICE agents, angry that their neighbors are being silenced and killed by federal agents at the behest of Donald Trump, people like Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And now those same ICE agents are showing up at your airports, getting paid to watch the TSA agents work without paychecks. It's not surprising that resistance is growing everywhere you look. From the ballot box to the courts. The administration just lost in court today in their standoff with Anthropic, the AI company, to Americans in the streets. This has been building and building and building up over the past year. Because fundamentally, Donald Trump thinks he's a king, wants to be a king. And fundamentally, in America, there are no kings. That's kind of the whole point. And so back in June, about 5 million Americans took to the streets to the No Kings protests. And they did it again back in October, and even more people took to the streets, as many as 7 million according to estimates. And now there is another one, this Saturday, the third No Kings Day protest, where millions of people are expected to turn out across the country to say loudly what more and more of the country is feeling. This is not a lonely sentiment anymore, if it ever was. No war, no kings, no more cruelty and threats to our neighbors, because Donald Trump does not run this country. Fundamentally, we do.